The Mayo Experience.
That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, War of the Worlds 2, The Challenge, Episode 9, Fantasy Scoring and Recap. If you out there want to get into a draw for 20 DK bucks, here's what you do. Smash the like button for the episode, leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section, and tell me your one lock, male or female, to make it all the way to the finals this season. No idea how the final is going to be structured. No idea if they're going to blow it up at some point and change the format. Just the one person you see at the very end, at least competing to win their share of $1 million. You can also get in the audio draw by subscribing, rating, reviewing, downloading, that whole fun stuff. 5 stars, DraftKings handle, something nice about the show. Right, Paul Shaughnessy?
Yeah, I would say Theo, if he just wasn't getting thrown in every single week. One of these weeks, it feels like somebody's going to pull, a rabbit out of a hat against him. But Theo is proving to be a top-end competitor so far this season. And the other people on the other team are starting to get nervous. And that is for sure. But they have all the numbers. Theo's going to be going in there every single week. Unless Turbo and Jordan go at it next week, which is obviously what we are all hoping for.
Don't think Jordan is far too smart to do that.
He should be. Because, that a guy is a badass when CT's just this guy scares me when he gets mad. Look at CT's history. He was the guy who scared everybody. He's scared of Turbo. Do not fuck with Turbo. I've been saying this for years now. Don't mess with him. He's picking on the guy who doesn't speak English. I don't understand why. We were talking before we get on the air here. You were talking about, I really like Jordan. Yeah, because he's picking on the foreign guy. He's trying to beat him in a war of world. It's tough. He's basically he's picking on the foreign guy.
Yeah.
He's picking on him.
He's picking on another good competitor. My big thing with Jordan is he's the only person in this house who's not fucking scared of Turbo. Everyone just wants to placate to whatever Turbo does. Jordan is in there being like, all right, I'm the best person here. Until you can beat me, you're not the best. And I tend to agree with him. He has more wins. He didn't win the toughest. I love the line. You didn't win the toughest final ever because I wasn't there. I love that. That's awesome.
It's a good line. But honestly, he won't get involved in a fight because Turbo would legitimately kill him.
Maybe so.
You know that's true.
Yeah, but this isn't a boxing competition. This is the challenge.
It may become a boxing competition if he keeps fucking with Turbo. But that being said, it's all of the other people making Jordan look like he's fucking with Turbo. Ashley completely set it up to, they're poking the bear. And then Jordan's the guy who has to deal with the consequences. It's pretty shitty that they're doing that to him, but obviously,
that's part.
We're at war right now.
That's a part of the challenge.
Everyone's playing Polly's game.
That's not going to work out too well for Polly. Polly might listen. The problem with Polly and the team that he's constructed around him, it's not a very good team.
And that's what we've been saying since the beginning. Is that especially now that we know that Polly has access to the Rogan, Kaylee, blah, blah, blah.
He has all the duds.
They're duds on that other team. It's Theo will run through pretty much. Joss maybe could give him a hard time on that British team, but it's maybe CT if it's a physical challenge, but Theo will run through the rest of those jabronis. Rogan, and who else do they have left?
Joss and CT, that's it.
Oh, I guess that is it. They're running pretty thin now, but...
So, here's the fantasy scoring for the week.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan, number 1 score. Team captain, let's go Jordan, 192 points. Turbo, 180. Polly, 166. Theo, 129. Tori, 104. Leroy, 81. Josh, 81. Ninja, or Crinja, as you enjoy to call her.
Crinja.
73, Kara 68, and Ashley, Smashly, 54 points this week. Even the American side of Polly's team isn't very good. It has Polly, who's all right.
Kara,
Ninja, Ashley. They have
Cam.
And Cam.
Leroy's on that team.
Leroy is now on the team because of Cam.
Yes.
Savvy move.
That's exactly, yeah. Leroy successfully polydicked for the first time that I can remember in a long time.
Leroy's the only person on this team I'm rooting for, although I do like Cam and Smashly as well. I feel like they could flip at any moment.
They are flipping with the numbers. You can't trust Ashley as far as you can throw her.
No, but if you look at the strength of if everyone's aligned with Polly, and we talked about the British people that leaves Jordan, Zach, Josh, Theo, Georgia, CT, maybe. I don't know. I don't know where he kind of falls. But like, if that's the other alliance and like that's the other team, that team is way better. Like, way better. I guess Nani and Turbo as well. Like, our Turbo, I don't know where Turbo stands in any of this. He's just sort of like an independent.
He's not a lie. He is trying to play the game with honor, and it's a game that you can't really play with honor. You gotta pick a team at some point, or you're gonna go in every single time.
So, what did you think of? I like this Jordan strategy of him trying to throw himself in to switch teams. If that happens,
I mean, Zach was pretty apt when he was just like, "That sounds super risky," as in like, you can do that. I want like Zach's basically like, I want no part of like putting myself in that type of situation. And Turbo is not the guy you want to go in with to try to pull this off.
No, but it could work. Like, it's starting to seem to me like it's going to be like the UK is probably going to lose again, and then you end up throwing and they'll vote in, I guess, Theo. I guess you would have to go up against Theo, which is not a good proposition. I think Jordan beats Theo though.
There's not many layups left in the guys. There's like,
but
there's Josh. Maybe Rogan.
Leroy, maybe, depending on the challenge.
Yeah.
Although I do subscribe to that. I think Jordan's the best competitor there. So I think that he could beat anybody in an elimination.
Most well-rounded.
Yeah, like no matter what it is, Jordan has
a chance. I don't know.
I'd say no matter what, even like worst case scenario competition, he's a 50-50 shot.
And in most I think he's in tough if it's a big time like.
If it's Hall Brawl, then he's in tough because he's a smaller guy.
Exactly.
That's really the only thing that gives him a whole lot of problems.
Yeah, he's good at puzzles. He's smart. He's sharp. He's a sharp competitor for sure.
He's tough.
He doesn't want to fuck with Turbo though. He wants to like get him.
He
should be making a war with like Josh.
Yeah, but Josh is on his team.
True. Yeah, he's got the jabronis. I don't know.
Yeah, he has Josh. Like that's their layup that they can check around if they want to.
Yeah.
But it was funny, like, how can I put this? What Jordan said to Kara and Polly about, like, Theo gassing out and everything like that and the thing. He was right. Like, he wasn't lying about it. It's not like he was, like, slandering Turbo behind his back. He said it straight up to him.
Turbo wanted a break. It's true.
It was strange, wasn't it?
I mean, it's the guy who just doesn't speak English on the level that everyone else in the house. So it's like, you know, Ashley comes up, this guy really disrespected you. And it's like Turbo's going to take it really seriously.
No, I understand that, but like that's on Ashley and Kara basically lying to Turbo about what was said.
Yeah, I know. They're trying to get those two to get rid of each other.
But Jordan's point wasn't that Turbo was a weak player whatsoever. It's just like maybe he's not as great as maybe you all think. Maybe he's not the best person here.
Yeah, but maybe Jordan's just a little jealous that Turbo comes in there one time, wins a championship, and everyone's got his respect.
Yeah, it seems really strange, considering Jordan's been a longer-term, better competitor.
Jordan, he's just jelly. He's just jelly.
He might be. Well, I mean, Jordan needs to go out and win this season then.
Take on Turbo. Let's go. This is the matchup we want to see.
There's no point of going in against Turbo. That makes no sense.
He thinks he's so much better in Turbo, then let's go.
Yeah, but
let's go to the proving ground. Prove yourself, Jordan. Prove yourself to Turbo.
Part of being better at the challenge is not getting yourself thrown in.
He wants to throw himself in, so Turbo is a willing competitor.
Well, throwing yourself against Idris, that's a win.
Yeah, well,
considering that guy can't figure out how to do a very rudimentary puzzle.
Yeah, he looks like a physical specimen. Like that guy. I love how CT like they gave you the full out spoiler, but it was 100% right, and everyone's kind of thinking it's CT going. He's just like, oh, Idris has to do a puzzle. Like, there's no chance in that happening. And sure enough, you know, he didn't get through the wall. He was a little bit behind Theo, but it wasn't that bad. Like, he could have picked up, or he could have, caught him maybe. But, like, he was just a complete... Everyone's yelling, trying to tell him what to do. He has no clue. Like, I think that's the last we saw of Idris. I don't really know what he added to the program.
Theo had a distinct advantage in that challenge. And I was watching, I was like, oh, this is going to be good for Idris because he can get himself small and, like, power through the wall really quickly. But then I started watching Theo do it. Like, Idris would go... come back around, go walk up the stairs, set himself, and do it again. Theo was just hopping up to the top of the platform and going through it.
Yeah.
It was pretty impressive.
Theo's good, man.
Yeah, Theo's awesome.
Theo's really good. Everyone's the other team is pretty scared of that guy. They don't want to go to a final with an Olympic runner.
I'm shocked that he hasn't
course.
switched teams yet.
I don't know what he's thinking either. Maybe he's looking at it going, I can beat all of these people on my team. You guys, I'm going to keep going back here because I don't want to end up on the American team.
Splitting the money.
That if we lose, I have to go in against Zach or Jordan or you know what I mean?
Well, and it works to be a numbers game as well, that if it's like there's 13 people left on the American team and 6 left on the UK team, your share of $1 million goes way up if you end up winning. And if there's only like 4 or 5 people left on the UK team by the end, they're probably all the best people. Like eventually that UK team, especially if they somehow get Jordan on their team, I would think that like Jordan would try to throw himself in. He would probably have Tori on his side, and then you have Tori come over and try to switch teams as well. If you just replaced, I don't know, Kaylee and Rogan on the UK team with Jordan and Tori, that team looks a whole lot better.
Interesting little tidbit in there too is when like D got sick or whatever. It was Georgia who's like, even as a runner myself, when I run with Tori, I get really tired, and it was just like, okay, so like we haven't really seen much of Tori, but apparently Tori's got some sick running shape right now from the sounds of it.
Well, she's been training with Jordan.
Yeah, no, I know. I just thought that was a little takeaway I had when she said that. I'm like, well, Georgia is vaunted as this great runner, so Tori must be the real deal out there as well right now.
We haven't seen.
We don't see much of it.
We haven't seen much of Tori as a competitor at all this season. No. In her first season on Dirty 30, she like waxed everyone she went into elimination with. And then she lost to Cam as like a mercenary. But no one seemed to be taking being a mercenary very seriously, except for Derek.
Yeah. And I don't understand this year, the replacements. That doesn't make any sense. Like, it doesn't make any sense at all.
Why?
Just having like Ninja, who is it? Ninja, D.
CT and Turbo.
CT and Turbo. Why were they called replacements?
Just to have them on the show.
I know, but like 2 of them are American. So like it's just like I can understand you can make the argument if Ninja and CT were from whatever other country. They're not British or American. It would all make sense. It doesn't make any sense when 2 of these replacements are American and you have an American team, but they had all it's very strange. There was something. I guess Rob was telling us that like this was supposed to be called something else.
Oh, really?
This season was supposed to be called something else. And he's on the deep threads finding all those spoilers and stuff, right?
Yeah. He's probably still in first place in the fantasy league, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I haven't looked in a while because like I'm down to like 2 competitors. Like it's over.
I'm still 5 strong. Bear turned out not. I mean, Bear
got 3.
Bear scored a ton of points for me, but he gone.
Bear, Laurel. Yeah, no, I'm down to 3.
You got Turbo left.
I got Turbo and Jenny.
Jenny.
Do I even have Theo?
I
don't even care anymore.
She's a real wild card left in this. Because eventually
you haven't seen any of her. She's going to smash a bunch of these girls.
Maybe.
That's why none of the girls on her team want any part of that, right?
No, because she's like a part of Theo and George's alliance, but no one's ever.
That's what they always say is that they're like, we should really throw in Jenny. It's just like Jenny's going to come back. Like she'll beat Kaylee, like all of those girls on the British team. You get into anything physical with Jenny, I think she's going to smash them.
She's 100% winner in anything physical.
Yeah.
It would have
she has good cardio. She proved to be a very, very good swimmer. And she's jacked. Like, she's way bigger than the rest of them. Like, I think she could just run through the rest of these girls. They're going to have to test her, try to get her in there. I'm sure Kara and her little cult are terrified of her right now. And they're thinking about how do we get rid of this girl before I have to face her in a final and lose to her because she's much more of a physical specimen than me. But I digress.
I'm trying to think of who on the American team, girl-wise, matches up with her at all. Not necessarily in strength, but like Tori seems to be the biggest of the girls, like just physically.
They needed Laurel to stick around.
Yeah, Laurel would have given her some real problems, but Tori looks to be like the next biggest, like in terms of like comparable size. She's not as jacked, obviously, but she's like just as tall.
I don't think there's anybody that's like Laurel would have been
like
the one.
Kara is just as jacked. She's just a mini version.
Yeah, she's
just way smaller.
Yeah.
So, Ninja maybe just because Ninja's a really good athlete.
Yeah, she's got a shot. It's all dependent on the matchup, right?
Yeah, like the American girls at least give her a better run than any of the British girls do.
Who's left on the British girls?
Georgia D.
Georgia struggled against Big T and what was that?
Esther.
And Esther. Like, come on. I know that she beat them, and there's the argument that
could have been creative
that she grabbed all the heavy ones first while the other girl grabbed. That's all fine and good, but like you should be. You know what Jenny would have done to those girls? Absolutely enough. Imagine pushing that cart, Jenny versus Big T. What would have happened?
Big T may
like
have died.
It would have been over. It would have. Yeah, she would have been. Like, it would have been over in seconds. So like, I don't even think I would, unless it's a running distances and stuff like that.
Which it won't be.
Which it won't be because they don't have room on the proving ground. Jenny absolutely smashes Georgia, but Georgia's like the best fantasy player. She didn't make the top 10 this week.
This is the first week she hasn't made the top 10 in fantasy scoring.
What a shame. She's probably crying about that, to be perfectly honest.
She was barely in this episode. It was weird. Because you always get some sort of like Josh Georgia kind of cry. I guess now that Bear is gone.
She was hanging out with Josh there. That was the one little bit that we saw. She was sitting on his lap.
Oh, Josh.
Yeah.
Getting in there. Did you like the mission this week?
Yeah.
There was something about it that didn't really make any sense to me. Because we saw it at the end. That's what I was trying to figure out the entire time. On the very last one when they finally won, there was a like thing of Zach. And he was just holding on to the window up by the other puzzle. Why didn't you just do that the entire fucking time? Hold on to the window by the puzzle and like scat out the puzzle and look at it more.
Maybe they said that you weren't allowed to, and we just didn't see that. But once the siren went, they knew that they could do it. I don't know.
Maybe that's what it was, because that seemed like a very logical thing to do. Because there were places where you could either hold on to like the puzzle or you could hold on to the window, but no one seemed to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Turbo
and like just putting those puzzle pieces up on the actual wall and just trying to get them to stick while you went to the other side seemed to be the move, and they didn't seem to figure that out until pretty late.
I don't even know if that was or not, because it didn't seem like they were.
Well, you just don't want them sliding down to the other side, so you have to recollect them and wait for them to come all the way down to the other one.
I guess so. They didn't seem that heavy that if you just held them with you. The move would have been to try to do it on the ground. And like allocate every single person on the team to one piece. Yeah. Like this is your piece and we'll try to figure it out on the ground. And then once we get pushed down to the other side, just bring your piece back up and we'll start from where we were. I think you could have got to it easier that way. But I guess it's tipping up and down. There's yoga balls everywhere. Turbo's being real butthurt that Joss threw one at him. Like
never the face. Never the face. Don't hit people in the face, man.
It's a yoga ball. Why don't you get over it, Turbo? Turbo kind of soft. Turbo, real upset. You know who gets triggered? Turbo.
Absolutely. Don't disrespect Turbo.
Guy might need to
unless you want something.
Guy might need to calm down a little bit.
You don't want Turbo coming after you right now there, bud.
Well, what if Polly comes after you? Like he tried to do with Theo.
Theo, nobody wants a piece. Even CT doesn't want a piece of Turbo, and that says something.
Yeah, but he's an old man.
He says he's scared of what happens when Turbo gets mad. This is CT, who's like historically the baddest G in the game.
Not in like the past 10 years. Like we don't get drunk CT or coked out CT anymore, or steroided up CT.
No, we get dad CT.
Yeah, we just get like kind of chill CT.
It's true.
It's a totally different person. No, the way that Turbo looked at the end of the episode was like how CT looked in Duel 2 when he tried to kill Adam King.
Mm-hmm.
I'll pep you a steak. I'll fight anybody. Which is still the best episode of the challenge ever.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like I still think the Turbo might get thrown off here. He looks like I think that's one of the reasons that this was cut into like a cliffhanger of sorts.
Yeah.
Like, because he's losing his mind at the end of this episode. He puts a finger on anyone this time after doing it earlier in the season, I think he's gone. And that might even include like trying to kill the security team.
Like he's had a lot of security detail pulling him back multiple times this season.
Might have to have a big glass of calm down juice.
Yeah, I don't know what it's. Yeah, maybe I know certain places in the world, like if you touch somebody on the head, that's like a mass. Who is it?
Adrian Beltre is who you're thinking of.
Yeah, yes. Beltre, if he gets touched on the head, like he loses his goddamn mind. I don't know. Maybe Turkey's like that too.
I have no idea if that's the case or not.
Massive overreaction, I will say, and I'm always Team Turbo. But yeah, you're right. Like the guy threw a yoga ball in your face. You're wearing a helmet, like
wearing a helmet, and it's a part of.
And like he tossed it like pretty light, like playfully. Like it wasn't You know, it's one of those ones you go, hey, like,
Yeah, it wasn't
screw off, you asshole. Like, you're annoying.
It wasn't a sixth grade game of dodgeball where there's like the shitty kid who's sitting at the front trying to pick up a ball and you just walk up and bam, pelt him in the face.
Yeah, but you know, you're in a really, really hot environment too. People get annoyed.
I could see you getting annoyed.
Like, it's like they're in the middle of.
But it was more of like what you said. He kind of lightly threw it at him, and Joss was like, ha 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 ha. Like, it was just kind of fun.
Yeah, they're in Southeast Asia. It's probably like.
It looked hot.
It's super, super hot and humid AF, you know what I mean? So, you know, people get moody, but Turbo does seem to get a little bit more moody than other people.
Is Jordan trying to do this to get him kicked off? Because Paulie was clearly trying to get Theo kicked off.
Yeah.
And Theo just wasn't having it.
Yeah.
Then they made out.
And then, yeah, kiss him again. That was pretty fun. The girls are in the hot tub, just kiss him again. Yeah. It was kind of weird. Paulie was definitely trying. There's a bunch of people. Yeah, I think maybe Jordan is trying to get him kicked off because he doesn't want to actually go in there and face.
Or maybe that's just the play against him. Jordan is level-headed enough. Like, Jordan has weird like outbreaks of being pissed off, but it's never anything like physically pissed off. Nothing that will get him kicked off. Mm-hmm. Generally speaking, I think that he sees like Turbo's a ticking time bomb. Why not just prod him? And hopefully, you're not the one who gets hit in the face by him and killed.
He will be the one. Well, Nani's on Team Jordan, though, and she's trying to talk some sense into Turbo. So we'll see how it all plays out. But I feel like it's going to play out eventually with them in the proving ground together.
I mean, I actually hope so, because that's like must-watch TV.
Yeah.
I just don't want to... That's Zach, Turbo, and Theo, and Jordan, I think, are by far the four best people left. Like, I think they're toss-ups against each other, depending on what it is, if they get thrown in. Said I think Jordan's the most well-rounded. Paulie is also very well-rounded. He's just smaller, which puts him at a massive disadvantage in some of these.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who's the best out of those bunch. Like, Theo might be the best, yeah. Just like, if you get to a challenge, like a final, his running ability.
If final's one thing, I'm just talking about like the proving ground.
Yeah.
The hardest person for Theo to knock out, I would think, would be Zach or CT, because they're the only two people that like compare in size to him.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I mean, Theo should have lost to Bananas. If we think back to it, Bananas fucked himself because I think he wanted to leave.
He's got a lot of shit to do.
Yeah, he'll be back for next season, of course. Anything else you want to talk about from this? I thought it was a great episode.
It was fun. Yeah, it was fun. It was good to not have a D episode, a D and Crinja, like 45-minute segment.
Yeah, we only got like 5 minutes.
Imagine what happens when those characters aren't the focal point of an episode. Wow, it's amazing. That's what really pisses me off about this season is that jabroni British wing of that.
Rogan, Joss.
Yeah, is that they got rid of all of my favorite characters and they've ruined the show.
Yeah.
Like if Rogan's fine. You know what? Like,
you've come around to Rogan?
I've come around. He's actually he's fine on the show. I don't mind him. But yeah, just like these other people like Idris and all these other people that stuck around when we could have had Bear and Laurel and Wes and Bananas. Think about how much more fun the shows would be right now. How much more triggered Kara and her gang would be if Bananas was there.
Kara this season is more triggered than anything I've ever seen on TV. Like, I think she needs like to take a break from the challenge.
I agree, and I think she is off next
Yeah,
season.
Rob said he saw the cast and she was, but I mean, she could definitely be on it.
Which maybe this is how he figures it out, because he knows that like they're off. So if they're off, maybe they just win this whole season.
I don't see them winning if they go to the end. I just don't.
Yeah.
Unless they're just up against scrubs.
And if their alliance maintains, and it's just like Kara versus like Kaylee and...
Sure. But if the UK keeps losing, eventually they're going to have to throw in all their people.
Yeah.
It all depends. I mean, I'm down for this Jordan trying to switch teams thing. He has to pick the right moment, though, to try to do it.
I mean, I just don't... I guess, yeah, we talked about it. I guess Theo has no interest in going to the American team. And I guess it is because he looks at his own team and goes, I can beat these people.
Joss is the only one. I guess Joss and CT.
He goes over the Americans. There's the other three best guys that we've agreed on.
But then
Turbo, Jordan, and Zach all sitting there. If you get thrown in, you're the new guy in the team. They're going to throw you in against one of those guys because the numbers actually dictate that
Paulie's alliance wouldn't throw him in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Zach and Jordan are at least on that, and Turbo is completely on his own. So those would be the 3 guys he would go against. So that's what Theo's probably thinking. Why he goes back to this British team. I would rather face this person, or like, you know, Josh, Rogan, Idris. Like, I'd rather face those guys than go to the other side and have to face those animals.
What do you think happens with CT? Is he the next guy voted? I guess if Theo's always around, they're going to constantly vote Theo in.
And yeah,
And then CT's up next.
And then CT's a flopper who will just continuously vote on the side that ensures that he's not getting thrown in.
It'd be crazy to see.
Eventually, it's going to have to be CT versus Theo, though.
Yeah.
Like, that's where this is heading.
That's the next one.
But Theo must be confident that he must like his chances more against CT than he does against those other guys on the American team.
Well, actually, on the UK side, the numbers are back in Theo's favor now, aren't they? You have Theo,
yeah, but it's all
Theo,
crossover now.
Theo, Georgia, and Jenny are a block. If you can convince CT to come over to that side, that's 4.
Is Jenny with them?
Yeah, Jenny's with Georgia and Theo.
Okay, are you sure?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure about where she
That's
stood.
always how I've read it, because she votes with them every time.
Yeah, I know, but the other guys are just, they're so terrified to throw her in.
Yeah, she's just they need her if they actually want to win, so they're just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Then you have Kaylee, D, Rogan, Joss. Is there one more girl that I'm missing? I don't think there is.
No.
So that's 4. That's 4 versus 4.
Okay, so it'll be interesting when they get
So it's up to CT.
Exactly.
And it's not in his best interest to vote against Theo because the other 2 guys are definitely aligned with each other. But it is a girls' day next day.
It'll be interesting.
I
mean, we can probably just assume that the UK team loses in whatever challenge that they do.
Well, do you think the American team starts turning on itself here? Because they have the Poly side has the numbers with Curry. If they win, do they just start trying to pick off Jordan and Tori?
Well, I know, and Jordan's savvy to that he knows that he doesn't have the numbers, and they got to try to break up this plan that seems to be taking place.
Yeah.
Like that whole... Pauly and Kara are in control of the game right now.
But that's actually a good thing for the rest of the competitors because they're morons.
Yeah.
And really weird and people don't like them.
Don't like who?
Pauly and Kara.
I don't like them.
No one does. That's what I'm saying. People don't like them.
Oh, I thought you said that it's weird that people don't like them.
No, because Kara even alluded to something.
I was like, no, it's not weird at all.
No, Kara alluded. I can't remember if it was this episode or the episode before. She was like, "Oh, we must be getting the villain edit this season." It's like, no, people just don't like you because you're unlikable.
It's been a few years now, and it's just like she progressively gets more.
And listen,
annoying.
I think Pauly's a fun character for this show because he's just an absolute crazy person. But I can see why people don't like him.
Yeah.
Where someone like Josh has grown on me over the season and had one of the best, like Pauly's like chirps don't even make sense because he called.
I mean, I guess that's what we didn't even talk about. No, sorry, I'll let you continue.
He called Theo. He's just like, oh, why don't you go back to Love Island, you motherfucker, like that kind of thing. And then he said to Josh, you big brother motherfucker. It's like, didn't Pauly come from Big Brother?
He did.
And then
he actually won.
Josh
Big Brother.
won. He's like, why don't we compare bank accounts, bro? I was like, that's pretty good.
Because he actually won.
He won $1 million. Yeah,
Pauly didn't win shit.
It's good for Josh. Josh sticking. Nothing better you can do for Pat.
Is Josh the new Dario?
He's more involved than Dario.
No, but I mean,
Dario was just like asleep in the background.
Me and you had like a personal vendetta against Dario.
Yeah, but I'm starting to like Josh.
Exactly. I know, but then we actually kind of flipped one season. Once his jabroni brother left, we kind of flipped on. We're like, you know what? I don't mind Dario as much.
Hey, he seemed like a good hang.
Yeah, I think that's happening with Josh. We used to hate him. Now I don't hate him as much. Now, that being said, when he was talking about like doing what's best for the team, the whole argument there was really ridiculous, right?
No, it wasn't.
Throwing in Theo is really bad for the team. It's just like, no, you don't want Theo around anymore.
No. I actually agree with him on this one because the whole point of the last episode was when Esther voted herself in. Like, Crinja and Pauly and Kara were like, how could you, talking to you, how could you let them do that? Throw in such a weak player. Like, we want 2 good people going against each other.
True.
So there's a weak player. We need to save Esther for the finals. Now, their weakest guy is in, and the Pauly Alliance decides to throw in the best person on the other side. Aren't you supposed to be trying to protect Idris and throwing in Rogan?
I guess.
But that wasn't even on the table for them.
Yeah, they just wanted to get rid of Idris.
They wanted to try to get rid of Theo. And because Joss and Rogan are part of their team. So they're talking out both sides of their mouth here. So Paulie can't even stay on like the same page week to week. Maybe he'll try to fight Josh.
He should fight Turbo.
He should try to fight Theo, because I don't think that's going to turn out well for Paulie.
I do not. Yeah, that's also what I'm just like,
is Theo like 1.5 feet taller than Paulie is?
Yeah. The amount of reach he would have on him, size,
just strength, just being that big.
Like Paulie seems like he does a little bit of training and stuff, but
even when they were like wrestling at the beginning, like Jordan was like a college level wrestler. Like you could tell just by the way that he was like approaching Paulie.
I wonder if this is the last we see of Theo though, because of the eye thing.
I don't know.
I mean, you could do most of these types of challenges with a glass eye, but that's if you would. I mean, he did it.
Well, we talked about this last week. I think it all comes down to like if you are insurable or not. I think he would want to do it. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
you could do all these challenges with one eye. It's just I've never lost an eye, so I don't know how long it takes for your body to adjust and your vision to adjust with that one eye to like get used to just having one eye. If that makes any sense. Like obviously he would always have some sort of, it's going to be blackness to, or at least nothingness to one side. But eventually that one eye, I believe, will start to get a bigger radius of vision.
It would become stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't see a reason for him not to come back on. Maybe he just doesn't want to do it with one eye.
Yeah.
Can you get eye transplant surgery? Like, could you get a new eye?
I don't think so.
I feel like that's a thing. How is that not a thing?
I mean, Michael Bisping's had enough money. He's won enough money. He was a UFC champion and stuff. He's got a glass eyeball. So if anybody was going to have a real eyeball, it would have probably been him.
Guess so. I'm going to look into that. I feel like that has to be a thing.
It's probably you probably have to do it in like Germany, and it's not legalized in other places. Stem cell research and shit like that.
It's not like going to Argentina to get your stuff done. Going to Germany is fine.
Yeah.
It's a very high-end medical community.
Yeah, I don't know. Anybody in the comment section, an eye expert, let us know if you can get an eye.
I think it's just more expensive than maybe you think it is.
Yeah.
Like, it's not something that you can do for like $500K or even $1 million. It costs like $20 million or something to do it because it's so intensive. It might not even work, kind of thing. I don't know. It just seems like we've come so far with medical technology that you could probably, you can take a liver out of someone and put it in someone else. You can put a heart in someone, take it out. You can't do it with an eye.
It's very complicated.
Maybe it depends on like how ruptured your like nerves are in the back of your eye.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't know how these things all connect to each other. All right.
So what do you expect from next week then with this cliffhanger of Turbo?
It's not going to be Turbo versus Jordan.
It's not going to be Turbo.
It'll probably be another like fake apology from Jordan just to keep Turbo pacified so he doesn't try to call him in and all of that type of stuff.
Why the cliffhanger though?
Because they want me to tune in next week. And you know what?
You were going to tune in next week anyway.
It worked. I don't know. Like, after that D episode, I was just like, if this is another D episode, I was going to be real mad.
What if we got like a Kaylee episode?
Oh. I mean, she's done literally nothing this season.
Well, we finally saw Cam and Leroy for a bit this week. I just assumed Leroy was going home because he got screen time.
Now he's with the numbers. And we have seen in like the little other season ahead that him and Nani are gonna be at odds naturally, because they're gonna be yelling at each other or whatever at some point. I've saw some tape for that, and I guess because they're buddies, they probably came into this game with the same plans. And Leroy's kind of like, you just don't have the numbers anymore, so like why would I side with this?
But their common theme was bananas, and they were with Bananas and Laurel. They're just gone.
Exactly. So you have to kind of split up at some point. But Nani's going to be mad that Leroy's jumped ship to the other team, and by the other team I mean Paulie and Cara.
That's the only person that I'm rooting for on that team. Like I said, Cam is one thing, Ashley is one thing. I like them both, but I actually want to see Leroy win. I would prefer that he do it with like Zach and Jordan and Turbo and Nani and that team, if they could do it.
We'll see.
But I really like this idea of switching teams for Jordan. Put your money where your mouth is, go in, win, switch teams. Hey, I'm the best.
Who does he try to get himself thrown in against, though?
Rogan?
Yeah, that's the key.
Or maybe someone on his own team.
Did they miss, maybe I missed it, did they, like, when they nominated, who would be in the tribunal?
It was Josh. Josh was the captain.
It was Josh, Leroy. But like, did they show that?
Yep.
Okay.
It was right after. They were just like, hey, who's
because all of a sudden they just showed up there and
who's your speaker? And it's like, yeah, I think Zach was like, it's Josh.
Oh, okay.
He's really taken on this role as speaker. Maybe because he constantly gets outvoted by the other people. The other team's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, just put Josh in there. It seems like he's contributing something to the team.
But that means who was it? It was Josh.
Josh, Leroy.
Is it Ashley?
Yes.
So Ashley cannot be in the tribunal next time, so she could be on the block. That's always the one thing that you forget.
I mean, the UK team's probably just going to lose.
Maybe they'll eventually win one. Maybe Jordan will throw it like Bananas did.
They're really dumb.
Yeah, they're not.
And
good.
they're not as they're just not organized. That's why Jordan wants to go over there. He's like, I'll teach them how to win.
With CT and Jordan as like your team leaders.
I mean, they have a better shot.
They do, especially if they could get Tori, potentially Zach as well. He's probably asking a bit.
Zach didn't seem very, very inclined.
Zach
to
just
switch.
doesn't. No, Zach knows like I don't want to go in. If I don't go in, I'm probably going to win the season.
Exactly. He's like, that sounds really risky. As in, like, I want no part of that. You can do you, but
I think that Jordan sees it as a risk. But just being on this team for him means he's going to have to go in every time anyway. That if he can pick his right spot. Yeah, in something that he knows.
Start picking them off. That's what he has to do. He can't be on the same team. He's got to be on the other side so he can beat them and then start picking them off. That's the only. Somebody's got to do it.
Let's say he pulls this off. Let's say he switches teams, goes on the UK team, and the UK team starts winning, and he starts picking off the people on the US team, and they end up winning the entire thing. Is that the greatest season anyone's ever had besides Landon in Fresh Meat 2?
I guess so.
Well, Landon won with the scrubbiest partner of all time. And like it was Laurel and Kenny against Landon and like the worst competitor ever.
I mean, he would go down in the books.
I think you would have to start talking about him as like one of the best male competitors ever. It would give him his third win.
Listen, Jordan's your team captain.
He's
you
my
come
guy.
in here every single week
and talk up
pump his tires.
Why do you think I picked him as my team captain? Why do you think I picked him? The guy's great.
I know, but what I'm saying is that
he had a lapse of judgment once, and it cost him. And he learned from that.
What I'm saying is that you are a little bit. It's getting a little bit much, Pat. Like
I'm not biased. I'm just seeing the truth.
I'm surprised you can come in here and host this show with Jordan's nuts hanging out of your mouth. Is all I'm saying.
As long as he leads me to the promised land, he can do what he wants. And so far, he has been. Is him or Georgia have to be the two highest scorers this year?
I bet you it's Georgia.
Yeah,
Georgia just scores like 100 points every episode, except for this one.
Jordan either scores the most or the fewest points, sort of like Turbo in that way.
Yeah, Turbo's.
I really hope they don't. I really hope
Turbo's the ultimate GPP. It's just like week to week, you don't know whether he'll get a 0, he'll get 5. He's the Will Fuller of Fantasy Challenge.
I really hope they don't get into a fight and get kicked off. Both of them. That would be really bad.
Jordan's smart enough not to.
I don't know if Turbo is.
He's not. Like
maybe he'll
if he feels disrespected, wherever he comes from, the way he grew up. You fight. You fight when you're disrespected.
Even on reality TV, when that's explicitly against the rules. Eventually, you have to know where you are.
Turbo doesn't live by anybody's rules except for his own rules.
His own rules?
Yes.
What would be the best fight we could get? So Turbo goes and sucker punches. Like he's so mad, everyone at the house is on the board. We'll just say men. So hopefully Turbo doesn't go punch women in the face.
I don't think
he would do that. He has a bit too much honor for something like that.
Yes.
But if he just went and attacked someone in the house because he was so pissed off, who would be the best person for our viewing pleasure?
CT.
It has to be CT, right?
Yeah. Because like CT may be like all dadded up now.
But if you got CT mad,
you get he's got that dad strength.
What if you had CT rage and Turbo rage?
Like we haven't seen CT rage in a long time. It's still there though. You don't have that type of history without you can get back there. It's just he won't. It would take a hell of a lot more.
It would take like Turbo to go and sucker punch him or something like that. And then if there's one person who could probably handle Turbo, just in that house, it's CT who's twice his size.
It could be, yeah,
just a huge dude.
That is the matchup.
Let's have it.
That is the fight.
Can we get that on the Scotty T Bear boxing match card? Can we get CT versus Turbo?
I'm in. You would just guarantee my mind. I wouldn't even look for one of those streams
You
that you can find.
$100, I'm in.
If you put Turbo versus CT on that card, I'm paying the pay-per-view. I'm paying for it.
There's a new X on the Beach season coming out, but it's in the winter time. And it has like, who's on it? Jemmy is on it.
So are they taking them across the pond, or is it like US version?
I think it's like US version of it. Because there is a US version of X on the Beach. I saw there's like a few challenge people. That like Nicole girl, I think Laurel's on it. That Nicole girl that she dated is on it. Marlon, Jordan's old partner from Real World Portland, is on it.
Interesting.
I saw like a People magazine promoted thing pop up. I was like, hey, I know some of these people. What's this all about? Probably still not going to watch it.
No.
And damn Daniel from The Bachelor's on it. I could just use more of
Now
him.
I may watch it.
He should really be on the challenge.
He's
right?
really a challenge. He's more of a challenge character than he is a Bachelor character. Like in terms of his style. Him and the Chad.
Yeah.
You get him and the Chad, because they actually, I think they're on the same seasons, essentially. Or they were released on like Bachelor in Paradise together.
Yeah, like, but
and like
they bring in all these
they
Big
always
Brother
actually
people.
kind of got along. So it's like he's one of the guys from that era that could maybe partially pacify the Chad, because the
Chad versus Turbo.
Oh yeah, inject it directly into
That
my
would
veins. I'm in on that.
That would be pretty good.
That's like the least honorable guy versus the most honorable guy, head to head.
You love both of them though.
I like Turbo
More than the Chad. You haven't seen the Chad in a while.
It's
The
true.
last time I saw the Chad, he was yelling at Chris Harrison on Bachelor in Paradise.
Yeah, you living up on your hill.
He just pissed at Chris Harrison.
Yeah,
It's great.
That was amazing.
Right.
Yeah, they got to get him onto this.
I don't know why he's
There's been talks, there's been rumors of it, but the Chad and Daniel, those would be great additions. So if you're listening, MTV producers, the people want it. I'm telling you, the people want the Chad. The people want Daniel. They want them on the challenge. Both of those guys are physically very, very fit.
And they would
would make
on-
good fits into this house.
They were
for
both
sure.
on X on the Beach too.
The Chad may make a horrible fit into this house because he's such a maniac. But that's why we tune into this show. So that's why
more
it's fun.
maniacs the better.
Yeah.
Like more like if Turbo can't be the only hothead on a season. We need more hotheads. That used to be the case, that everyone was kind of a hothead.
Mm-hmm. Now it's a little bit more safe.
Well, we might be out of the steroid era of the challenge as much as we used to be when everyone was real yoked.
It's true. The rage was aplenty.
Yeah, remember when Wes was real angry at all times?
Yeah. Well, everyone threw him in every single episode. Like that was
Yeah,
the
but they
move.
still
Just
do.
throw Wes in because he was jacked. He was a much better competitor than he is these days.
Yeah, he was also like 10 years younger.
Yeah.
And probably had 20 more pounds of muscle.
For sure.
Bananas looks kind of exactly the same. He looks older, but like physically he looks the same.
Yeah.
It's strange. Anyway, UFC. What do we got on the go this week?
The card will be basically over by the time people listen to this.
Oh, it's Singapore, right?
Yeah, it starts at 5:00 in the morning. So
Oh my god, that sounds horrible.
yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna watch it live. I'm gonna just wake up when I wake up and then
see where
and then
it's
I'll
at.
catch up type of thing.
Is this the Nate Diaz card that he got kicked off of?
No, that's next week.
Is he gonna be back? for
No
it?
idea what's gonna happen there. So basically, what ended up happening there is, so he apparently was flagged by USADA, and then what they were like is they were just like, listen, you got this fight coming up next week. We don't think that you actually did it. It could be from like a contaminated supplement. He's just like, I don't take any supplements. I only drink, or he's like, I only have.
And we drink beet juice.
I only have like whole foods and natural products and stuff like that. So I don't understand how this, whatever you guys got in me. They're like, let's just keep it quiet and you can fight next week. He's just like, no, I'm not going to play your game like that, because what happens is I fight and then 2 weeks later
You ding
they
me.
flag me. Everyone calls me a cheater. I'm going to look like a cheater. So you guys figure out this shit. You're on your own. I'm not fighting. It's pretty. I don't believe that he actually has done steroids. Like this drug testing for the UFC, USADA, has been an absolute shit show. They've wasted a ton of people's time. There's been tons of people who have been flagged. Like they're finding next to nothing in people's systems, and then they're like, "Oh, you can't fight for 6 months." And then 6 months later, when you've been collecting no money, they're like, "Oh, we were wrong. We found out that this was like coming from this or something like that." So it's like, it's been an absolute shit show. It's been awful for the sport, in my opinion. Some people are like, oh, it's a fair sport. It's just like, yeah, but they fuck up way too much and they're ruining people's lives. So essentially, I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, the ideal situation would be have Connor come in, but he's got other issues that he's got to deal with.
Well, didn't he
now.
say he's returning to the octagon?
Yeah, January 18th.
Does he say against who?
The rumors right now would
Saint
be
Pierre?
Cowboy Cerrone, but in theory, the move would have been whoever won next week's fight between Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal would have fought him in January. I think that was probably the move, but if Nate Diaz is out,
Then he probably doesn't want that fight.
then it probably ends up being Cerrone.
Is that even a fight? Like, do people just tune into Connor to
Yes,
watch that?
people just tune into Connor, and it's
like,
at least
isn't it better just to have Connor in super fights at this point?
and that would be.
Is it?
He needs to get a win.
Ah.
Like, you can't put him in against Khabib at this point. Khabib just absolutely mollywopped him. It wasn't even competitive.
What about like Connor versus GSP?
GSP's retired, man.
Yeah, it does seem like he's willing to come back.
He would come back for GSP, but like, what weight would they fight at? Like,
I don't know.
GSP was always a welterweight. Connor went up to welterweight to fight Nate Diaz, but it's like Connor weighed in at 168 for that, so it's like he's so small at 170. That would be a pretty big disadvantage. Can GSP get down to 155? There's so many things going on.
So is
in
GSP
MMA, and GSP may never may never come back. You would have to. The offer would have to be so big.
What if it was like GSP versus?
And they don't
Khabib?
sell pay-per-views the way that they used to anymore.
Oh, okay.
It's all on ESPN. So that has kind of killed a lot of McGregor's leverage and what he used to be able to make. Because now you have to have a subscription to ESPN Plus. In America, you need to have an ESPN Plus subscription to be able to buy the pay-per-view. And like a lot of people are just not going to go through that extra step. So like,
then why doesn't he go to Bellator?
Because he has a contract with the UFC.
Oh, does it? How many fights does he have left in it?
No, I'm not sure.
Oh. Because if they're still selling pay-per-views and that's a cash, get like a Floyd deal and go to.
I think what he would actually want to do is just go out on his own,
like Floyd, and
then he would bring in his own talent to face him and fill an undercard, and then collect all of the revenue for himself. But I don't know.
Own that IP, Connor.
I don't know how many fights he has left with the UFC, but he's got a whole bunch of other shit he's got to deal with.
Legal
first.
problems.
So I wouldn't even be the fact that he said January 18th.
Is he allowed in America anymore?
There's so much shit going on, and like Irish laws in terms of, for anybody, he's got like 2 sexual assault cases against him. So Irish laws are you're not allowed to they're not able to put his name out into the news technically until he's actually like a case has been filed. So like just the original like complaints or whatever that can't be released. I don't know. I'm not an expert on it either way.
You're not a legal scholar or a doctor.
No, but all I'm saying is he's got some, like, I wouldn't take it to the bank that he's showing up on that day because everything in this guy's life is completely in a chaotic world right now. So
would you say that the money may have got to him?
He is the classic crash and burn athlete, I think, of our era at this point. I'm sure there's other guys that you could be in the same discussion, but from going from like one of the biggest athletes on the face of the planet, top 5, I would say, like LeBron and those guys are always going to have, their sports are just so much more mainstream. But Conor McGregor is like a international icon. To go from that to what he is now, it's just like cocaine is a hell of a drug. I
think the best comparison to Connor, because it's an individual sport, is that you put him in the same bucket of athlete, like famous worldwide athlete, as Tiger and Federer.
Yeah.
And Tiger went through his shit, but he never did anything like illegal.
No.
He just fucked around on his wife.
What did Federer do wrong?
Nothing.
No.
So Federer has handled it the best.
Yeah. Federer, that's what I was going to say. I'm like, Federer's a goddamn saint. Yeah. How is he getting brought up in the same conversation as Connor?
Like Connor's so big.
Yeah.
Tiger's so big. Federer's so big. Maybe Nadal is as big as... He's not as good as Federer.
Yeah.
But maybe they're just as famous. Or maybe Djokovic is too. I don't know. But these tennis guys... I guess it's a different culture growing up than the MMA guys.
Yeah. The MMA guys are usually pretty broke until they get super rich, and we've seen how these things go. It's like when you're going to country clubs, like the tennis guys.
Or
like,
the golf guys.
You grew up. I don't know anything about Federer's growing up, but
Tiger seems like more of an outlier in the golf community.
Yeah.
Just because he didn't grow up rich.
Yeah.
He played at public and like army courses with his dad.
Yeah.
But like Phil, on the other hand.
I mean, fighters fight when they're kids. That's typically, usually, I mean, that's always the joke that we always talk about. It's just like they were either bullied as kids or they were the bully as kids. You know what I mean? You get George St. Pierre, who's just like pristine, just a good guy.
That would be a bad one to come out.
He was someone who got bullied, and Connor claims that he was bullied, but I have a feeling that Connor was actually the bully, and this was all part of his little story to gain some sympathy when he was coming up the ranks. He seems more like the type of guy who was the bully than the bullied. But hey, who knows? Maybe. I mean, money and fame changed this guy more than anybody I've experienced in my life.
It's like Tyson-esque.
Mm-hmm.
How off the rails he's gone. Like, is he going to be broke soon? Is that going to happen?
I mean, there's so many people. Dude, the amount of people suing this guy at all times, like, this is how you go broke, is a lot of lawsuits and stuff, paying off lawyers, all of this other stuff. Like, I imagine if he's selling so much, the thing is that whiskey brand that he started absolutely crushed it. So like he's making more money off of that than he is off of fighting at this point. So
yeah, but the fighting sells the whiskey.
Exactly. Is that when whiskey sales start to go down?
Fighting is a marketing cost.
My guess is the whiskey sales are starting to go down a little bit. He goes, I got to get back. I'll get back in the new year, so that we can get my name back out there in the middle of a fight. I can pump my whiskey or pimp my whiskey out. I don't know, but we'll see what happens. MMA is a crazy sport, so like you can say one thing one day, and then all of a sudden, GSP's out of retirement. That changes the whole game. But right now, it looks like Cowboy Cerrone. I think they wanted to do Masvidal, the winner of Masvidal Diaz versus Conor McGregor. And I don't know if we get to January 18th and he is not actually fighting that night, I would not be surprised either because he's got a lot of shit going on.
Bad news.
Bad news for Connor.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe he gets his life.
Maybe he can come onto the challenge.
Oh,
he would be a good character.
He'd be like Bear.
He'd be Bear, but like way more athletic. He's a world class athlete.
Yeah.
Like this guy, for all the
okay, if
for all the hate and stuff around Connor, it's like this guy is an elite athlete.
He is little though.
Yeah, he's probably Paulie's size.
Yeah. So
he's like 5'9".
Proving ground, Turbo versus Connor. Who you got?
I mean, is Connor able to throw like a spinning back? Like, is he able to?
Well, it's not a fight. It's a challenge. It's some sort of challenge.
If Connor can hit him,
well, who runs a better final?
Like, I mean, when Bear was like smashing Wes and stuff like that, if Connor had you on the ground and he throws a left, like he's knocking you out.
Yeah.
So like, are we allowed to do that? Because Connor would knock out Bear.
Like, not Bear,
Turbo, Bear. Everybody in that house would get knocked out by Connor.
What if he couldn't reach you with a punch?
He would. He's so much faster than these guys.
No, I mean, like Theo's like 1.5 feet taller than him. I don't know if his arm extends that high.
He would be able, even though Connor's not a ground guy, he'd be able to take down.
No, I get that,
Theo.
but again, it's not an MMA fight. It's smashing through a wall and building a puzzle.
During the now we're talking the puzzle game. I was talking about
that one challenge, but like even if it was a hall brawl.
I mean,
like you put Zach.
What are we allowed to do? Because Connor could literally go through that hall, throw a flying knee, and hit you in the chin.
Sure, but what if he doesn't hit you in the chin and Zach just goes because he's 100 pounds heavier? Like how would?
I just don't honestly, man. There's always these arguments all the time about
does Connor beat a shitty heavyweight in the UFC?
No, but a shitty heavyweight in the UFC beats the shit out of everybody that's on the challenge.
Oh yeah, sure, because they would be equivalent size. So let's say what's the third tier MMA?
We're talking like professional level fighting. Like all of these guys Connor beats the shit out of everybody on this cast.
Okay, who wins a fight? Greg Hardy or Connor?
Greg Hardy.
Okay.
But he's got actual fighting training, like professional.
He does now, but then when they threw him in, he didn't, and he was a heavyweight in the UFC.
260 pounds.
How much do you think CT weighs?
260 pounds.
Like it's just at some point size has to play a factor for some of these guys.
I don't know. We're having it's just
We're off
really,
the
really
rails.
stupid conversation we're having.
All
at this
right,
point.
Paul Shaughnessy.
Sorry.
Follow him on Twitter at Paul Shag. Check out the Dogger Pass podcast up on the Pat Mayo Experience audio feeds in the DraftKings YouTube channels. Again, if you want to get into the draw for 20 DK bucks, smash the like button for the episode. Leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section. Tell me the one player, male or female, you guarantee is going to be there in the final of Challenge 34 War of the Worlds 2. That'll do it for me. Follow me at the PME on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Sub to the show and do all that fun stuff. Enjoy the challenge. I'm Pat Mayo. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!